everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to film my review for the Book Naturalist Book Club for our pick for the month of November, and that was Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. The subtitle is Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of Plants. This is, I think, the 5th time I've read this book, and it remains one of the best books I've ever read that is in the intersection of science and reflection on the world at large, family, motherhood, social justice, all of the topics. And it's just a fabulous book. So we picked this one for November for our year of rereading the best of books for the Book Naturalist Book Club, because November is Native American Heritage Month. And so this book fits perfectly in for that topic. You can see by all the tabs that I have in here that there is a lot of wisdom in this book and a lot of really thoughtful and impactful things that Robin Wall Kimmerer talks about, but she talks about it in a way that is completely accessible. It is really emotionally resonant and just something that I think can connect with anyone, no matter what your background is. You don't have to be a botanist. That is her training. She is a plant ecologist, and she was formally trained that way through the Western science, typical training programs and education, but she is also Indigenous. She's from the Potawatomi Nation, and she has that Indigenous way of looking at the world as well. And her goal with this book is to bring together those two sides of herself and to talk about things that are important to us about the natural world and ecology and where we are today with climate crisis, and talk about it in a way that makes sense, marrying those two perspectives together. And I think she does a fabulous job. So this book is organized into a series of essays, and each essay touches on different topics, relates different moments in her life with the broader message that she's trying to impart, which is that humans are a part of the natural world. We are not separate from it. We are not, above everything and sort of the boss of the world. And we need to stop looking at it that way. We need to start considering the ways in which we integrate with everything else and how we can all live on this world together and coexist together. And I just think it's fabulous. It's just such a wonderful book. I know I've talked about this book many times before on the channel, and I will always be raving about this one. I've listened to it on audio. I've read the physical form. It doesn't matter. It's excellent either way. The audiobook is great because Robin Wall Kimmerer reads it herself, and she is a fabulous narrator. So, I highly recommend it that way as well. Today, I wanted to just talk about some of my favorite aspects of this book, favorite pieces within the book, I guess you would say. So my favorite essay is, I don't know how to pronounce these two words in Anishinaabe. So I'm just the subtitle is The Teachings of Grass. And this is the essay in which Robin Wall Kimmerer acts as an advisor for a young woman who is studying sweetgrass, which is a very important plant in Indigenous communities. This young woman meets with a lot of resistance from her academic sort of advisory board. There's a lot of explicit sexism, and also disinterest in and dismissal of Indigenous ways of knowing. There's dismissal of women's ways of knowing and of women's activities, because it's primarily women that harvest the sweetgrass and create the basketry that's made from the sweetgrass. And so there's a dismissal of, the importance of their work and the importance of what they know about that grass and how to manage the meadows of sweetgrass and what they know about harvesting and how to harvest sustainably. And Robin Wall Kimmerer, in the meantime, is advising this graduate student on doing work with these Indigenous women to study their traditional harvest methods to see if they do, in fact, create sustainability within the plant. And I just found a lot to love about that because it reflects very closely to what I know about local knowledge, which is a similar aspect of if you work in a resource management field, natural resource management field, and you work with people who harvest from the natural world. you understand very quickly that those people, while they may not be trained academically, they know a lot about the natural world because they live in it every single day, and they have observations that they've made over a lifetime, which they may not put together the same way that you do because they haven't been trained formally, but they still have excellent observations and a lot of knowledge about what's actually happening in the world without, that formal training. And what Robin Wall Kimmerer talks about here with how Indigenous people harvest sweetgrass is very similar to what I understand about how people harvest shellfish where I live. And they're thinking about the importance of how to harvest, where you harvest, when you harvest, and all of those sorts of things. And that local knowledge or that native knowledge is so important to helping you understand how to manage that species correctly. So yeah, like that's just one example of how Robin Wall Kimmerer gets to the heart of the matter and really connects practical, real world knowledge with sort of the broader understanding of the big picture of science, and also the big picture of morality and ethics and how we use things in this earth and why we use them. Just fantastic. And as always, I want to read a little passage from this book so you get an understanding of her writing style if you have not read Robin Wall Kimmerer, which I really hope that you will. So let me put on my readers so that I can read this properly. This is from a different essay in the book. It doesn't mean that we can't consume the energy we need, but it does mean that we honorably take only what is given. The wind blows every day. Every day the sun shines. Every day the waves roll against the shore and the earth is warm below us. We can understand these renewable sources of energy as given to us, since they are the sources that have powered life on the planet for as long as there has been a planet. We need not destroy the earth to make use of them. Solar, wind, geothermal, and tidal energy, the so-called clean energy harvests, when they are wisely used, seem to me to be consistent with the ancient rules of the honorable harvest. And the code might ask of any harvest, including energy, that our purpose be worthy of the harvest. Oren's deer made moccasins and fed 3 families. What will we use our energy for? And I just love that. I mean, she had been talking about the extraction of coal from the earth and how that harms the earth and harms the people who are asked to do that kind of work. And isn't there a better way? And I think that for me, in my life, is the question that I ask a lot. Is not that I think we need to, stop living a modern life. It's that I ask, how can we do it better? How can we do it in a way that's less harmful? And I think we could all ask ourselves those questions. And I think Robin Wall Kimmerer gives us a lot to reflect upon in that aspect of thinking. So Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin Wall Kimmerer. Loved this book. It was fabulous. And I do want to just point out to you that she has written and published 2 other books that I have also read and loved. And the first is Gathering Moss, which is more science-based than Braiding Sweetgrass. It's more specifically about science, but again, very well written, very thoughtful. If you didn't think moss was interesting or important, please read this book. And then her most recent publication is The Serviceberry, Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. And this is a slim little, tiny little book all about exactly what it says on the cover, and is lovely, and it would also make a wonderful gift. So please let me know if you read Braiding Sweetgrass this past month in November or sometime before that, or if you have it on your list to read. I'd be very interested to hear about it. And then for the month of December, we will be, for the Book Naturalist Book Club, we will be rereading The Sixth Extinction, An Unnatural History by Elizabeth Kolbert. And I love Elizabeth Kolbert, as I love all of the authors that we've been reading this year. And this is a fantastic look at extinction events throughout history, throughout the history of the planet, and also the age that we're currently living in, and whether or not the age that we're currently living in is, in fact, the 6th extinction. So that's what we'll be reading for December. I hope that you will join us. And never fear, for those who have asked, Doris and I will be working on a new book list for the 2026 year. We have both, Doris and I, have been extremely busy over the last month or so. And so That list is a little bit delayed in bringing it together, but it is coming. And so hopefully you will be seeing something on that from us soon-ish. Never fear. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well and finding some great books to read. I'll talk to you later.